Hot metal. Look at that thing. Welcome back to Stay Tuned. I'm Tony Angelo, and today we are working on one of the raddest projects I was ever able to dream up. Over here, I've got a NASCAR SB 2.2 small block motor that is now a 406. It makes 811 naturally aspirated horsepower, way over 8,000 RPM. It is a stone cold killer. And over here, I've got a 55 Chevy. If you don't know, it's one of the most iconic hot rods of all time. This is one of my dream cars. I finally got one. And what we're gonna do is take this NASCAR motor and cram it into my 55 Chevy and make something radder than either one. Let's go. So my 55 Chevy is an old street strip car that I picked up from my buddy Matt Hogan out of Tennessee. Obviously at some point was pretty nasty. It's got a 4-speed hump hole. It's got, manual pedals. It's got a little bit of a cage. It has a 12 bolt with ladder bars. And it's a very complete car that's not super rusty, so we can get right to work on it. I wasn't very into 55s or any of the Tri-5 cars when I was a kid, just because I was like pure muscle car. As like a teenager, I was like 60s cars and 70s cars are where it's at, and I didn't get why like a big blocky shoebox could be cool. And as I got older, I learned that I was wrong. Obviously, Finnegan's Blasphemy is one of the raddest cars ever. We've taken that on Drag Week a few years in a row. That thing is incredible. It's like 1,500 horsepower blown Hemi. Alex Taylor's car has 11,000 horsepower or whatever. It's super rad. It's in patina. It runs 6s now. Wicked cool cars. Anyway, being around those cars certainly tuned me up to how rad they are. And seeing them in 2-lane blacktop and American Graffiti, they are wicked cool, and I get it. And now I've had to have one, and I picked up this car. It was pricey. Just a roller. This thing was $10,000, which is a lot for our little channel. This is going to wind up being one of our most expensive projects, just to be clear. But I had to have it, and what I like about a car like this is that it's pretty complete. It's got a decent drive, it's got a decent rear end in it. It steers, it has some brakes on it. We'll be able to get it up and rocking pretty quickly. That's the idea here. And it came with just an absolute arsenal of parts in here.
Yeah, I can't wait to actually see.
We haven't even dug into this thing, so let's find out what we got together.
So the box says good 55 tank. That does look like a good 55 tank. Okay.
Couple of sandblasted control arms.
Yeah.
Car's sitting on arms. So
yeah.
I know that we'll need those.
It's like Christmas. What you got there?
I'm recognizing some holly markings, so I don't really know. Maybe not. Classic. Too fast. Something. I don't know.
Maybe like door panels or something? Sheet metal. Oh, the floor pans for the holes in the floor.
Good. We're gonna need that. The car is pretty solid. There's some holes in the floor. Not the end of the world. Came with some pans. A car this old, 70 years old, you can expect to be doing a little bit of metal repair or writing a 6-figure check. So we're gonna do the first one. Oh man. Real estate classifieds. Nobody wants to see these, right? Let's do it anyway. 2,300 square foot plus a 2-car garage, bonus room, unique floor plan's on the mine. Reduced to $144,000, brand new house. Pretty good.
97?
97. Right. I got a hot one. Old Hickory, 2-bedroom dollhouse, fenced yard, excellent starter home, 59 grand.
Okay.
What does that mean? Is that a type of house? Is that something we're saying now?
Dollhouse?
Yeah, that feels weird. $653 miles on the old odometer here. Seems low, based on, what I'm seeing. I don't know if I would trust it. All right, so we got all the parts that came in the car pushed out back and on some shelves. We're now going to pull the front end off of this thing and start looking at how the SB2 is going to fit inside here. Now, this is a car that came with a small block Chevy, and technically that's a small block Chevy, but that's sort of where the easy stuff is going to end, I think.
Yeah.
Right,
Both have bow ties. The end.
So this thing's rocking a couple of like 70s, 80s vibe. Add some chrome everywhere you can. Gold springs, chrome hinges, chrome latch. We're gonna leave all of it, because why not? It's hilarious.
Just hold this side up and then I'll grab it. Not too heavy.
All right, the windshield is already broken, for the record, just in case anything crazy happens here. But I'm just gonna use my head to hold it up. There we go.
Just put it on this table.
That'll look cool. All right, all the weight's in the front.
Yep.
Got it?
Yep.
Does that work for you? So we are going to swing this SB2 into the frame rails of our 55 Chevy for the first time. But we're going to remove this giant oil filter mount and the oil tank off of this motor plate to see if we can use this drag race motor plate. I'm excited because it means we're getting close and we're going to see how it's all going to fit. You know, I'm excited to drive it, obviously, but that's 80 steps down the line.
Yeah.
Maybe we sit the engine in there first.
Just seeing them next to each other gets me excited.
You're talking about the car,
Me
right?
and Tony?
Not me. Nice. All right, so if you want to know more about these engines, this is a legitimate NASCAR motor that would have ran in the early 90s through 2008 or 9, I believe. Absolute beast unit. It is based on SB1 regular small block Chevy architecture. They made about 770 horsepower in Cup form. They'd run them at 8,800 RPM all day. Super burly. Mine's a 406, a little bit longer stroke. Drag Racer came in, retuned it, a little bit broader power band with the camshaft that's in there now. This thing made 811 horsepower through pretty small headers. If you want to know all the facts and specs on this thing, you can go back and watch the dyno episode when we dynoed this sucker when it made 811. But over 7,500, this thing is an absolute psychopath. I cannot wait to try to drive around on the street. It does have harder rings, so it should last a little bit longer, but it is a serious racing beast. It's just, I bought it 80% because of how cool it is, and 20% for the sound. And then another 100% for the horsepower.
That doesn't make sense.
Dude math or something.
Yeah, that is it. That's not the one. This is the one.
All right, pull it.
Put them on there. Put the bolts on.
Isn't just one bolt on each side? Or
Two. But one of them's like impossible to see.
That's what we get running together, buddy.
You ready for this?
Yeah, I'm gonna be pretending I'm Earnhardt getting on 95 off of Byberry Road.
You have to go up a
Gonna
little
be the
there.
greatest. Gonna be the greatest. Just one of those visor helmets. Some lady in her minivan. Not gonna know what hit her. A little shove on the chain a little bit.
What's up? Towards you.
Yeah. There you go.
Enough?
Yep. Gonna wheel the car forward a little bit. The idea is get the motor far back enough that it can clear that front cross member. This is a 55 Chevy, so it has this, the motor used to sit with two front mounts off of the water pump area, and the motor sits kind of in and down there. So we're gonna try to replicate that spacing and that placement.
The whole thing's got to go towards you a little bit.
Yeah.
Because we're not centered.
Okay, that's fine. Okay. A great way to support Stay Tuned and Look Fresh is to grab some of our merch. There's a link right here and one in the description. We've got our We're Gonna Lose the Shop shirt, the original Stay Tuned, Angelo's Garage Gym, our Stay Tuned trucker hat. And if you're on the Stay Tuned Pizza Squad premium membership level, you get a sweet 20% discount. So get over there and get some gear on. And we appreciate you guys like crazy. Thank you so much. All right, it's starting to look like it may fit. We want to run this dry sump pan. They're very expensive. We're hoping not to have to change it. It's just a big blocky one. It's got no provisions for a steering drag link or a cross member. But we're going to see if we can hopefully just smuggle this in exactly the right spot where it's going to work. Or maybe, you know, do a bent down drag link later, and that would be not the end of the world. All right, so let's go down more with the back if we can. What's important is like getting the motor to sit in place where the steering hopefully still works, bell housing makes sense, and we don't have to rework the pan as far as like cutting it and trying to find more space in it. Because it has like all sorts of things running through it, where it picks it up the oil and moves that, you know what I mean? So, sweet, Tyler's here. We're gonna start by making a little bit of room on the firewall, just massaging it with a hammer and come up with a good plan to mount this sucker in. Motor plate's gonna sit sort of above the suspension, so I don't love that, but we're working on it. First thing, we hammer out some of my aggression and take another look at it.
Massage.
Some of my frustration. Come on, lift her up. There you go. Cool.
This car wants a NASCAR.
The car's like, put that in. Get this out of the way. You need some metal gone? Let's move it. Let's go. All right.
Push forward.
Wheel that sucker in. Most agreeable firewall of all time.
More.
It's so polite. It's like, oh, excuse me. You get out of your way here, bud. Yeah, that's probably good. Let's start there, and I'll swing it
Those old
back.
1955 manners, you know?
Yeah, they got those old school
Help
manners.
yourself, sir.
Oh, right after you, sir.
Dixon's hat.
All right. There you go. We never had that twist before.
No.
Happily. All right.
Watch that distributor gets touched.
You touching?
Almost.
Yeah. What's the? It's in a ball. I mean, we can slide it
I think we
forward
sunk
just a hair.
back farther, right?
Yeah, this is awesome. This is the business here. Is it sitting on the steering or no?
Yes. Yep. Like a seat.
Okay, good. That's it, dude.
That's a good, yeah, that's a good angle.
That's it. I think it's sitting exactly where we need it. It looks pretty great. It's going to take a little bit of work to figure out a motor plate. We'll probably have to do some kind of drop steering drag link because it's sitting right on it, which is something we knew might happen with that dry sump pan. But if you take a step back, it's very happy. Made a little bit of room in the firewall here for these giant valve covers, same on the other side. And I'm stepping back and I'm like, there is a NASCAR motor sitting in my 55 Chevy, and that makes me wicked happy. All right, so this car had the engine mounted with this giant motor plate that had wings forward and stays pretty high, which is totally fine to use if you're in a chassis car like they were. It's all tube frame. They would have had at least one major down tube coming in and picking up whatever they had for a cross member our car. We're going to keep it pretty stockish for now. We may add a cage later, you know, a more substantial cage. Right now it's got a little 6-point in it. So we're going to pull out this motor plate. We got a motor plate from S&W. It's a pretty standard piece. Kind of just cut it how you want it. So I think step one, pull that water pump off, pull the motor plate off, and start seeing how we can use this thing, because I want to come right off the cross member here, nice and low and strong, so that we can mount this sucker in a way that it's going to hold up. So let's get that water pump off, Tyler.
Yep.
And we'll go from there. Man, they got about half a thread in that thing. Thank you, sir. You can see that. Sweet Jazzle drive. Serious belt drive right there. All right, is that it? All right, so I'm going to deal with figuring out the mounting solution in a second. I'm very excited right now because someone from Hendrick Motorsports hit me up and they follow me on Instagram, which is wild. The internet is a wild place. Life is crazy. And he was like, get me as many tags off that engine as you can, and I will tell you exactly what it is if we indeed built it, and you know what it did, how it ran, where it ran. So I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to send a DM out with this number and see what comes back. We've got the engine sitting where we want it. I think we're just going to replicate that style of mount with the big scallop out of it for the upper hose. So we're going to make our flat motor plate as we talked about, but we may add a brace to these cylinder head bolts with a spacer just to stiffen everything up, make it a little bit stronger than it was. We'll bring them nice and low because this car doesn't have any tubes to use. So we're going to bring our motor mount right down to the front. The motor plate will mount on like little brackets we're going to weld up right now. First thing I'm going to do though is I'm going to put this thing at about 2 degrees down. I'm going to level the car first. Okay. That's 2 to 3. That looks pretty good to me, man. So now we are going to take our S&W motor plate, cut it out, make it fit. Cool.
That's raw.
Yeah. First thing I'm going to do with this S&W, which is kind of like a big blank plate to make a mid plate out of, is I'm going to cut it just narrow enough to fit between the suspension arms so we can start actually seeing how it's all going to fit really well. But just to get it dialed and get it rocking, I'm going to cut it. Barb says 8.5 on one side, 8 on the other. Recently I went out and picked up this proper old school Dual 16-inch throat stand-up bandsaw. Guy had bought it to try to cut wood with it, realized it wasn't the right thing. Sold it to me for $800, which I feel like is a steal. We put a new blade on it, lubed up a couple things, set it up, and it is, boy, it is happy. That thing rules.
Better than the other one.
It's got the blade welder on it. It's got the whole deal. It's very cool and very precise. Yep, that thing's the best.
There is.
It does. That light bulb does smell like an easy bake oven, though. That thing is intense. Or like I would think, because I didn't have one of those as a kid. Whatever. You can make brownies with that thing. It was the best. All right, we're bringing the shape in now. This is going to curve up to fit with the contours of that 55 crossmember, and then we are going to just hole saw out this section so that we have some space for that dry sump oil pump. That's the idea. Barb marked it, so if it's not right, blame him. That is warm.
You want the drill with the handle?
Nah, this is more exciting. Hot metal. Yeah.
Let me hold it.
Last thing we've got to do is make space in our motor plate for that giant AN oil line. So we're going to cut some kind of groove out of there. We will be able to keep it about 1/4 inch thicker, maybe even more than the last plate. So it should be quite a bit stronger. And with the, if we potentially do these gussets to the head, it'll be wicked strong. After that comes out, we're going to plate the cross member and bring up our uprights with some gussets, bolt everything together, motor mount done. Sorry, motor plate done. It's a whole plate. Still looks pretty healthy. Good? Great, let's call it there. All right, I think the motor plate is all done. I wiped it down, it looks sweet. We're now gonna put a little bit of a crease in these plates that we're gonna weld our uprights and the gussets to, just to make the crossmember much stronger. And you can see they don't sit flat. They're just gonna come in with a little bit of crease to them so that they sit happily. Good? It's pretty good.
Hey. Still gotta come down. It's fine. I can get a little. There it is.
Beauty.
He did it, baby.
There you go.
That much?
Yeah.
I'd say
Get a little drawl on there. Get it.
all right, let's try it. And what were you saying, this corner here? I mean, car is laid back. I like this handle.
Beautiful, dude. That looks awesome. That looks awesome.
Hey, there we go. All right, the passenger side is in and looking killer. We're just using some angle iron and chopping it up to look halfway decent. It's very strong. It's dialed in. We got one bolt mounted in case we have to do like a little bit of tweaking on the side-to-side angle. It's level front to back. It's centered where it's supposed to be. It's in line with the car. Got to check all this stuff. And now we're gonna do the driver's side up. It's getting pretty late, and I want to get this thing bolted in tonight. That's the goal. But look at that. That's strong. And we'll weld the rest of it up too. That's perfect.
Well, tonight, baby.
I don't know. It just sits there by itself.
It's pretty great.
good.
Here, clamp it
Look
up.
at that, look at that angle down the back.
That's a beautiful boy.
All right, so we've got our uprights done. We're gonna take this plate off. We're gonna bolt it into the uprights by itself, weld everything in, and go to sleep. Come back tomorrow, try some more.
You good with that?
The sleeping part? Hell yeah.
All of it.
That's pretty tight.
Look up again.
Ugh, I can't look at the fire. Blah.
I need a photo.
Sweet. All right, motor plate is all welded in. We're feeling good about it. Now we can do mid plate and transmission cross member, but we'll do that tomorrow. This kind of situates everything, so it was all the all the measuring and all the figuring out. So now that we know where it sits, that'll be good. The rest of it should snap right together. All right, it's a whole new day in the shop. The welds have cooled on our motor plate. That thing is in and fully dialed. We're gonna start moving to the back now and run what's called a mid plate. This goes between, it's just a sandwich between the bell housing and the engine, and we're gonna do the same kind of thing. 2 ears off the frame. This is another S&W kit. It looks like it will fit just about perfectly. A little bit of welding, that thing should be in there pretty quickly. We're very excited about it. I'm also very excited because I told you before, someone from Hendrick reached out to me, this guy Matt Huffman, who is my new best friend, just to let me know maybe if you could figure out what this exact motor did. Because lots of guys have been like, it's a 406, NASCAR's ran 358s, but this motor's been gone through, the crankshaft's been changed out, the camshaft's been changed out. And he told me some killer information. Every race, everything this engine has done. And it was used in NASCAR Cup. It was primarily for Joe Nemechek, who ran it and had a bunch of high finishes with it. It's a real Cup car motor. But kind of most notably, so this sucker ran between 2002 and 2005, and Jimmy Johnson ran this thing at Martinsville and Rockingham and finished 8th and 9th. 2 top 10 finishes on this sucker. Like, look, it's cool to think, oh, it's a NASCAR motor. What could it have done? But the idea that like this actual motor ran in the top 10 of the Cup Series is insane. Also, Jimmy Johnson is a pretty bad dude. I was hoping it was maybe Jeff Gordon motor because that dude's I'm a big fan of his too. He could drive anything. But Jimmy Johnson is a bad dude. So I'm very excited, even more excited to get this thing in and hear it fire up and take it down the road, because I just feel like it's going to be a little extra special next time this thing hits 8,000 RPM. So let's get rocking. All right, so we decided to put the car on our 4 wood block platforms to build the motor, the mid plate into the thing. And we realized we've never even had it up on the lift or looked underneath it. It's time for that now. I've got my head down here just to see the gloriousness. Okay, some old school competition engineering ladder bars with what looks to be a fairly substantial mount considering some of the things we've seen on some of these old race cars. That's pretty burly. I guess they had side pipes on this thing too, because I don't know where I guess you could put an exhaust above around it. I don't really know. But, so what we're looking at is ladder bars, leaf springs, shocks that are not connected, by the way, Bart.
Look at that.
That's the noise we heard. It has an A-body rear end in it, probably.
12 bolt, dog.
12 bolt, yeah.
Oh, yes.
I'm saying that it had
From an A-body, yeah.
from an A-body, I think. Clearly had upper arms on it at some point. It's got cool weldable tow hook things, I guess. Red Ryder Gabriel shocks and a sweet chrome rear cover. So it's legit 70s, you know, street strip vibes. It's awesome. This is a California frame, which we like because it's all boxed in. You can see it's considerably stronger than the C-channel ones you find in some of the other cars. I don't know why the California cars had that. I think the wagons and the convertibles had it for sure. But either way, that's a nice piece. You can see there's no body bolts in anything, which is fun. Kind of terrifying. We'll figure that out later. I'm gonna buy body mounts because these are all haggard. All in all though, we're in business. So the mid plate's gonna go here. Obviously the front of the engine, motor plate. We're doing all of this and we haven't been clear. The reason we are bolting this sucker in firm is it's gonna make a ton of power. It's gonna make a ton of torque. When I let the clutch fly, it's gonna put a bunch of twists and everything in here. And if we had just regular rubber mounts, you know, you could tear those up. It's a mess. When you're pushing this kind of power, this kind of RPM, you want to solidly mount this thing in. Also, the SB2 motor doesn't really have provisions on the block for a conventional mount. I mean, it sort of does, but they've got water running right next to them and in the way, and they've got the oil pump. Anyway, nobody does that. These things were run in Cup racing with a motor plate on them, and when it was drag race had a motor plate, we're just going to rock another motor plate. So we got a drive shaft loop. We're ahead of the game. All right, let's lower it down. So we got the car sitting down on those wooden platforms. It sits very level, it looks good. We're now gonna deal with this mid plate. This is another kit from S&W. Same kind of thing with this giant oil port. We're gonna just notch this out. I'll mark it, cut it on the bandsaw, and then we will lower it in. Barb's already come through, cleaned up the frame on one side, and welded in a plate on this side because there was a big divot and we want a nice flat spot to weld our brackets to.
Okay.
All right, let's get to that bandsaw, my favorite tool ever. All right, we're swinging the motor in. I've got the mid plate bolted to it, and we will talk about welding the tabs on the frame. All right, I've got the mid plate bolted in here. We've got our engine offset to the passenger side about 7/8 of an inch. just to line it up better with the pinion a little bit and give us a little bit more space for headers and stuff on the steering box. So this mid plate is made for a on-center application or design. So Barb went and made, it comes with these two little brackets. Basically these would weld to your frame with some gussets, and then you'll drill bolt holes through them and bolt these suckers in. So Barb went and made a wider version for this side, so there's a little bit of a gap. But all in all, it fits pretty fantastic. We're actually going to put them in front of the mid plate because we know there's no chance of swinging this thing in by itself. So we're just going to give up and make it easier to remove later on. You want to just give me a clamp? Clamp this sucker best I can. You can see that we're supporting the back of the motor with this idler arm. That's it fits beautifully. It's exactly where we want it. The angles are all right, and it won't steer at all. That's a problem for another day. We'll deal with that. Right now, it's just a very convenient engine holding piece. Yeah. What's up?
I'm please, for the love of God.
Put some bolts in it so it doesn't knock my teeth out.
So it doesn't kill you and we don't have work anymore and my friend is dead. Alright. We need bolts.
I really wish you said my friend is dead first, but that's fine. Go ahead.
I was thinking that.
Sure. Work. We don't have work anymore, is what he said.
Yeah, alright. You know what comes first here.
Sounds like work comes first. So what we're rocking on right now is we have a QuickTime SFI rated proper bell housing. These things are killer, and we just wanted to see if we could throw it on there, and it just slipped right into place, which is fantastic. The mid plate we have is the same thickness as the spacer plate that comes with the QuickTime, so we're deciding how to deal with that. But for sure, we know that the bell housing is exactly where it's supposed to be. All right, the mid plate is now welded in and connected to the car. I've got it bolted down, so I can remove this chain for good because we finally mounted this engine in place, which feels awesome. And it looks just radical. Just what dreams are made of right there. Look at that sucker. Soon enough, we'll make some fender well headers. Giant 1150 Dominator on top. I was saying maybe like a cool fab up a sick one of those round air cleaners that like picks up right off the cowl. It's gonna be the greatest.
Keep talking to me.
We need a name for this thing. We need a name. I'm gonna start employing the old noggin. Yeah, this thing's gonna be really cool. I'm really excited about it. I'm very genuinely excited about this, man. We've built a lot of cars. This one's a special one for sure. So when you're making SB2 Power 800 plus, you need a serious transmission, and this is what I went out and grabbed to handle that kind of juice. This is a G-Force G101A, and what's really cool is these are made right here in Pennsylvania, so me and Barb just loaded up in the truck, drove about an hour and a half west of here, and went and picked up this thing. This is a fully faceplated 4-speed. It's all aluminum. It's got a center cuff, so it's super strong. They use these in drag racing. They use them in drifting, even in some road racing stuff. It's an awesome, awesome transmission, and what's really cool is they're made right here in Pennsylvania. We didn't go to like a retail outlet. We went to the factory and picked this sucker up. And outside of casting and plating, they make everything right here in Pennsylvania. It is a seriously tough unit, and we're gonna toss it in there and just thrash on it. And I asked, are there any break-in procedures for a transmission like this? And the guy was like, fill it up with fluid and let it eat. That's what he told me. So that's what we're gonna do. They also own long shifters. So this is decked out with a long shifter. You can see just how burly every piece on the outside is, and believe me, inside is no different. No synchros, fully face plated. Slam them as hard as you can, shit them as quick as you can. These things are killer, And what's cool is it's time to put this thing up and in the car and make a mount for it and just see how it fits, make sure this thing falls right to my hand, and just get further down the line. I'm very excited about this. I think we can try to throw it in with the shifter on there, but well, let's give it a go. We're not gonna worry about the clutch and flywheel right now. We wanna just get everything in there so we can make a transmission crossmember. So let's toss her in. Should we beast it in there just for old time's sake?
Heck yeah, you're wearing the shirt.
Am I wearing the shirt? You're right. Let's do it. Oh, cool. Somebody already put the bolts in. That helps. All right. All right. How's it look?
It's hitting
The shifter?
yeah.
All right. Let's take her down. Whoa. So it's clear we're not going to fit this with the shifter, but as you can see, this has already been mostly devoured and knocked out by a previous owner, so I'm not going to spend a bunch of time making a real ginger little cut. I know it needs to open up to about 21 inches, so I'm just going to rough it in, we'll call it, because we got to make a tunnel anyway. But I'd like to sit this thing up and in there. Something like that. And this time Tyler's gonna help me put this transmission up.
I'm gonna try.
You got it, bud. We got it together. All right, ready?
Sir, yes, sir.
Let's do it.
All right.
Okay. This thing's got some beef to it. You gonna get there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Heck yeah.
Good.
Yeah, we could take a little bit more off, but
Sorry for now.
yeah.
Just to get it in. All right,
Yep.
hold it up. Don't let it drop in my face. Great work.
Wouldn't do that to you.
And what's nice is it's serious, but it's still very much just like an old school 4-speed.
True.
It's not some sequential thing. You know, it's not a 6-speed. It's just side shifted 4-speed goodness, just turned up to about 1 million. That's good. All right, cool. All right, it's time to dig into some pizza. As you know, stay tuned. We call it a pizza team with a racing problem. We will get that transmission going, but I'm feeling a little weak from lifting that bad boy up, and it's time to refuel. I normally say if you want to buy us a pie, there's a link right here. Today's pies were bought for us by the Actors Hole, which I hope is an acting club, and a dude named Gregory Massey. So we appreciate you like crazy. And normally we would say, hey, if you want to, you can buy us a pie right here. But today I'm going to say don't do that. If you want to chip in to Steve Mignonte's GoFundMe campaign. The dude had some monster health issues. He's on the mend, but he's on the hook for crazy, crazy medical bills. I know a lot of people have already donated. We'll put a link up in the description, and we'll put one up here too. So if you want to do that, cool. If not, it's time to chow down. And we've got the Stay Tuned membership stuff rocking now. We've got the Pizza Squad and the Pizza Squad Supreme. You get like discounts on merch, early access to videos, you get special little side videos, stuff like that. If you want to do that, if not, just keep watching, liking, and subscribing. We appreciate you guys. We're going a little bit different today. It's not just pizza. This is sauce on top pizza, which, believe me, is still better than most stuff you can get anywhere in the whole world. A Brooklyn ragu, a rosa sauce, and some gnocchi. And since people are worried about meat and vegetables, there's some broccoli rabe underneath that sausage. Let's dig in. Come on in. All right, it's time to make a transmission crossmember. Mostly out of stuff we have laying around. This is some 120 wall, 1-inch tubing. I don't know what I cut these off of, but we're going to use them. A couple of brackets. The idea is these are thick enough to just tap and weld to the frame, and they'll be like bolt receptacles. Then we need a plate to go to the end of these suckers, and they will bolt into these guys in the frame, and then we'll make something to pick up the transmission in the middle. A lot of times, transmission crossmembers can get pretty involved because you need to like leave space and bend them out to have exhaust and stuff. But we don't think we're going to have exhaust in the middle of the car because we're going to run a set of real nasty fender well headers, and they're going to run sort of down the outside of the car. Boom tubes maybe, I don't know yet if that's possible. But the idea is we've got very flat box frame rails. So just something that comes straight across, support this, and made of the stuff we have laying around, because let's not spend any more money on this one. Not today. All right, I'm gonna make the other two pieces here. Barb's gonna make something, some kind of bracket that will grab the transmission mount and that round tube. We will meet in the middle. Cue 80s montage. Go. Everybody's working for the weekend. Oh, that's gonna be good right there. Not the song, though. That's gonna be quick. Let's do it! So I've got these 1/8" plate bolted to 1/4" plate that's now tapped. It's gonna weld up to the frame, a bar between them, barb, not bar. Made this sweet bracket. It's gonna accept this piece of tube, and they all just kind of sandwich together.
Sandwich.
No more sandwiches, I'm stuffed, dude. Fitment is pretty good. We just got to take a hair off of it. It's nice and light. It's 120 wall, so it's plenty strong. And since we know, like I said before, probably no exhaust coming in here, it'll be fine. Don't do this on your regular car that has exhaust and headers right here, because it's just going to run right into the tube. You can, however, put them up, nice bend down, pick it back up and run it.
Also, the other advantage we have is we have a mid plate too.
Mid, I love them, a good mid plate. I put them in all my cars starting today. This is the final piece of the puzzle for mounting our SB22 and that G-Force transmission into my 55 Chevy. One pretty clean little transmission cross member. Now, a moment of truth. It's got a little bow in it now that it's been warmed up, but it'll probably fit better than before. Let's find out. Coming in hot. It's actually just very hot to touch. So far, so good.
Not surprising.
There it goes. Look at that. Just lined itself right up. Imagine these are shorter. There you go. Check it out. Yeah, there it is. One NASCAR SB 2.2 motor, G101 transmission, mounted in mid plate, motor plate, trans mount. This project is coming together awesome. We move as quick as we can here, and to get that stuff all done with just a couple of dudes in a few days feels awesome. We're gonna keep thrashing on this project because our goal is to get it up, running, and driving as quickly as possible. So it's gonna stay in the shop, and it's gonna be next week's project too, because I'm so excited about this. This is like a total dream project. And next week, we will be getting this sucker fired up running strong, and hopefully as close to driving as possible. Look at that thing. Just look at it. It's killer. I am like a little kid. I'm so excited. Thanks for watching. That's it for this episode of Stay Tuned, and we will see you guys next week. Later.